Alrighty, cherubs. So today we're going to continue in West and Central Asia, and we're going to continue talking about architecture, but we're going to move on to non-mosque architecture today. Remember to take your quiz on the three pieces from last time, the three mosques we looked at. And today we're going to be looking at these three pieces, so none of them being a mosque. We've got a palace, we've got a shrine, and we've got a tomb. Two of the three of these you've probably seen before, okay? You may not have heard of the Alhambra or seen pictures of it before, but I'm betting that you've heard of and seen these two, okay? So in our timeline, looking back at our timeline, we need to know who the Umayyads are, okay? So we talked about the Umayyads and how they moved into Spain uh, uh, with Abdul Rahman, okay? And we're going to actually be looking at the pre-Abbasid takeover in the Levant, in Palestine. Okay, so that's where we're going to be starting today. Is over in here with the Umayyads. We've also got the Nasrids in Spain, El Andalusia. So in the various groups after the Umayyads fall in Spain, various groups are going to pop up to rule the remaining pieces of the kingdom as the Christians start to come back and push back into Spain. One of those groups is going to be the Nasrids, okay? And then lastly, we've got in India, we've got the Moguls, not to be confused with the Mongols, okay? These are roundabout descendants of the Mongols. So, yeah, they're not the same thing, okay? But they're going to be in northern India. All right. So we're going to start here in Spain with the Nasrids, okay? And in Granada, there's a palace, and it's called the Alhambra. The Alhambra was this fortress, palace, and one of the seats of power in Moorish Spain. Okay, it is one of the most beautiful examples of Islamic architecture, secular architecture in the world. And again, it goes and they go great lengths to recreate the Middle East and in Spain here, and they're gonna decorate it with, again, all of those things that we've talked about previously with all those decorative elements. They're going to have arabesque, they're going to have geometry, they're going to have calligraphy. So all those decorations, look for them as we look at some of the pieces or some of the pictures. Here you've got muqarnas, we've got vaults, we've got all the things that are going to be in that we've talked about. They're going to use here in the Alhambra. It is not a symmetrical building, okay? It's not a symmetrical structure. So we've got some of the famous parts, the Court of the Lions, the Hall of the Ambassadors, okay? And we've got just various parts of the palace. So here's the floor plan. Go ahead and give the video a watch. Rick Steves, he kind of walks you through it. And one of the things that he does point out is that they've tried to recreate the idea of paradise, and paradise is actually a Persian word for the land of the blessed, the afterlife, and they fill it with water and with fountains. So look at the fountains, that all the fountains in this video that he highlights, and it's really, really quite beautiful. So it's got this very sturdy exterior, but the inside, the interiors are very light and very, very beautiful. Okay, and it's meant to be cool and airy for these warm summers. So the Hall of the Two Sisters, this is another part of the Alhambra. And you can see the vaults here, and these are the muqarnas on steroids. I mean, look at, it's like stalactites. But again, they're just these miniature little vaults that they've got, multiplying this endless multiplicity of geometry. All right. Um, it's going to be used for music. It's going to be used for receptions. It is beautiful. It is meant to look like a flower. Okay, it is stuccoed, and then that stucco has been carved. Now, the decorations that are used in the Alhambra are going to inspire Escher, MC Escher, who you're going to know for creating the tessellations, the tiles that fit together and repeat, and then he uses them to create these whimsical and surreal pictures. Okay, that like the two hands drawing themselves. Escher was inspired by the art of the Alhambra and the geometry of the Alhambra, and he used that as the basis for his own art. And so it has influence even into the 20th and 21st centuries. Okay, now the Court of the Lions. Again, you can see here, and it's called the Court of the Lions because we've got this fountain here in the middle of the courtyard, in the middle of this Paris-style courtyard that is supported by these lion statues. And so again, you can see these multi-lobed arches, just like we saw in Cordoba, in the mosque in Cordoba, but these are going to be smaller. You can see the calligraphy, you can see the arabesque, you can see the repeating patterns of shapes, the tessellations. So again, right here we can see all those different forms of decoration in this courtyard. Okay, so again, we've got the garden, the Paris-style, the courtyard. We've got just a place to enjoy nature on the inside of this spectacular palace. All right, and that is the Alhambra. So make sure you've watched the clip. It'll give you some more information. Take the notes here and highlight. Now, the next place that we're going to be going is the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem. Now, this is an octagonal building that was built to house. Okay, back up. A couple, when we talked about the beginnings of Islam, we talked about the night journey when Muhammad was transported and flew from Mecca to Jerusalem all in a night. And then from Jerusalem, he ascended into heaven and spoke with the prophets of the past, the great prophets of the past, and spoke to God, and then returned to Mecca. The Dome of the Rock covers the spot where he ascended to heaven in Jerusalem. It also is the spot, is built on the spot where the Jewish temple was. So it's a hotly contested area of the world. It is not a mosque, but it is a shrine. Okay, so the difference is that a mosque is used for congregational worship weekly. All right, a shrine it's a pilgrimage site. Okay, so it was designed so that people would come. You could come here. It does have two aisles on the inside so that you could circumambulate, and you could come in and walk around. And the floor inside is bare. There we go. The floor inside is bare, so you can see the rock. This is the spot again that's supposed to be where Muhammad ascended for the night journey, or during the night journey, he ascended to heaven. It's also said to be possibly the site of the Holy of Holies of the Jewish temple. It's also thought to be the point of creation where God created Adam. It's also thought to be the place where Abraham was supposed to sacrifice Isaac. So it has this very rich history. Now, if we check out the inside on the cutaway drawing here, you can see where it has the two ambulatories, so you can ambulate. And it does have the man-made grotto down below the rock. They have a staircase inside where you can actually go down and pray and contemplate below the rock. There is a mihrab in this building, but again, it is not a mosque. It's just a shrine. It does have, now check out the date, 691. It's a really, really old building. So the decorations that you're seeing are not original. It's been updated many, many times throughout the years, much like the Kaaba. Okay. But what we're seeing here are they've tried to put it back to what they think it could have looked like. Now, on the outside, it is covered in tile, ceramic tile, just like Isfahan, Masjid Jama. Okay, the gold dome was added in the 20th century, in the 60s actually. It was a lead dome for many, many years, and the tile used to be mosaic. So we had different art forms on the building here that have existed through time. Now, it does have calligraphy at the top, and again, from this image, you can see the geometry. The columns are spolia. Okay. On the inside, we've got calligraphy, and it's very pointedly supposed to make it's very, very explicitly making the point that Jesus was not divine, that he was just a prophet. You can see the arcade, the round arcade, in the middle with the striped arches, which is again a favorite in Islam. Go ahead and watch the 2 video clips that I have posted here. Again, he's going to take you inside, which is and he'll explain that is atypical for a non-Muslim. Okay, he's also going to give you some of the geopolitical problems that have arisen with the Dome of the Rock. Now, he's going to also mention that the building is octagonally shaped, which is unusual for Islamic architecture, but not unusual for Byzantine architecture, which is obviously what it was inspired by. And he's going to show you the remains of this church that is just right there. I think it's within 2 to 3 miles of the Dome of the Rock, this Byzantine church that was octagonally shaped. Now remember, we talked about the octagon when we talked about San Vitale, which was a Byzantine church. But remember, the octagonal shape for the Christians was baptism. It was mortal life with mortal life, superimposed with mortal life, like a new beginning, a new mortal life. So that was what it was meant for in Christianity. The iconography doesn't translate here in Islam, but the form certainly is beautiful, and it was copied. Okay? So go ahead and give these a watch, and you'll get to see some of the decorations. You'll see the inside of the Dome of the Rock, and it's just exquisite. So please give these a watch. Okay? So again, it is a pilgrimage site. It is a shrine, and it was designed to rival. Now, I've got this link down here. It's designed to rival the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which is the place where Jesus was supposed to be buried. Like, it's the church that's built over his tomb. And it's over just very close. And the dome is almost identically sized. Okay, so it's meant to rival that. And it was also meant to rival the Kaaba as a place to come in and worship, because at the time that it was built, there was some geopolitical friction between Jerusalem and Mecca. So go ahead, if you're interested, go ahead and give this a click and learn a little bit more about that. Okay, so the dome does have a double shell. Again, we've got the first time the Quranic verses are used in architecture, and that is significant. So please go ahead and give that a highlight in your notes. Okay, we've got the oldest surviving written Quranic verses. Very, very interesting fact. Now, our last piece is going to be in northern India, and that is going to be in the city of Agra, and it's the Taj Mahal. Lahori being the architect, Ustad Ahmad Lahori. And this is a building that you know before you walked into this room. Now, check out the date. It's 1,000 years after the Dome of the Rock. It's 1630 to the 1650. And again, you can see that it's not a mosque, it's a tomb, it's a mausoleum, all right? But it very much incorporates mosque elements. We've got the Iwan, plural, okay? We've got the Iwans, we've got minarets, we've got the central dome, all right? We've got calligraphy, we've got arabesque, we've got geometry, geometric patterns and designs. So you have all these hallmarks of Islam, or excuse me, of mosque architecture incorporated into the design of this tomb. Now, the story behind this is that it was created by Shah Jahan, a Mughal ruler, emperor in northern India, and his favorite wife, Mumtaz Mahal, which was the name that he gave her, dies. He had multiple wives, but she was his favorite wife, and he married other people for political, alliances and etc. But he married her, Mumtaz Mahal. He married her for love, and she died in childbirth, giving birth to their 14th child, and it destroyed him. And he promised as she was dying that he would never remarry and that he would build her a mausoleum worthy of her. And so that's what he does, and he sets out building it almost immediately. And it's made out of white marble, and it is one of the wonders of the world. It's on on the inside, you can see, again, calligraphy. Look at the arabesque, the tile, the geometry. It's got it all. This was Mumtaz Mahal. Now she's she's buried below the structure, okay? But this is the marker for her burial, and this is below the central dome. Now Shah Jahan was actually buried there as well. His son buried him there as well when he died. So his is a bigger marker, but it is off center because it wasn't designed for him. But they got laid to rest together, which is quite beautiful. So this really is just this remarkable monument to love, and I think that is just so exquisite. Just this monument to how much he loved his wife, and he builds one of the wonders of the world, and I just think that's so precious. There are a couple clips. Okay, go ahead and give these guys. Whoops. Go ahead and give these guys.
Taj Mahal means crown of the palace in Persian, and
go ahead and give these a watch. Sorry about that. Give these a watch. They're going to show you around, and they're going to give you the history as well, which it's absolutely beautiful. And again, there's a lot more happening here at the Taj Mahal than just the white structure that you see. It is built on this raised platform with these side gates, okay, and then it has this other. So here's the white, the Taj Mahal itself, and it has this symmetrical, these pools, these reflecting pools in the gardens that are, again, it's laid out like paradise. It's laid out, this orderly fashion like heaven. And then you go through this giant gate here to enter into the garden space before you get to the actual mausoleum. So we've got the mosque. There is a mosque on site over here, and that's not part of the mausoleum. But again, the point is that it's a mausoleum. So you've got the river that it runs past and overlooks, and then the city of Agra. Oh, just exquisite. Okay. So again, a tomb, a mausoleum designed for love, done in the Islamic style, incorporating these Islamic elements. The corners, if you notice that the corners are not, they are, I don't want to say rounded, but they've got these, they're chopped off. They're not, it's not a right angle. That's called a chamfered corner. Okay, just FYI. All right. So the tombs that we've looked at so far in art history are the pyramids at Giza. We've looked at the tomb of the triclinium, the Etruscan tomb with the frescoes. We looked at the catacombs of Priscilla, the Christian burial spots with their really fast frescoes beneath the city of Rome, and of course the Taj Mahal. Now, this has come up in a couple essays that have been written. Remember the difference between a sarcophagus and a tomb. A sarcophagus is the box. It's the box that carries it, that holds the remains of a body, versus a tomb, which is the building that holds it. Okay, they're not synonymous. They're not the same thing. So make sure you keep that in the back of your head. So we've got the coffin, the inner coffin of King Tut, of Tutankhamun. We've got the sarcophagus of the spouses, the Etruscan sarcophagus made out of terracotta. And we've got the Roman Ludovisi battle sarcophagus with all that high relief showing the battle scenes all the way around. Okay, those are the boxes that hold the remains versus the tombs, the buildings, the structures that were meant to hold the tombs. Excuse me, the coffins. Does that make sense? Sarcophagus is a coffin, essentially, and that's going to fit inside of a tomb. Okay, so they're not synonymous, so just make sure you keep that in the back of your mind. Now, that is it. Make sure you watch the videos that I've linked. It'll give you a lot more information. Go back in your notes, and again, for these notes, they are highlighted. They are, they are written out, so go back and highlight them and take some additional notes on some of the things you pick up from the videos, okay? And that is our lecture today, and I hope that you've enjoyed this trip. Next time, we're going to be doing some architectural pieces. We're going to be doing some luxury goods that come out of West and Central Asia. We're going to be looking at some papyruses and some parchments, manuscripts, and other luxury goods. You're going to like this stuff. So until next time, have a great evening, and I'll see you then.